What is the worst possible way to be rejected? I went on a first date with a girl. We had a nice dinner and really seemed to be hitting it off. We decided to visit a jazz club after dinner. Some guy started flirting with her when she was on her way to the ladies' room. It continued when she was on her way back. Dude then posted up nearby and just kept looking at her and winking at her while she was sitting at the table with me. She excused herself and went over and started talking to the guy. I was hopeful that it was a "what the fuck is your problem, dude?" conversation. But no. Soon they were laughing and joking and exchanging numbers. When I decided to call it a night, she thanked me for dinner and said she was going to hang out a bit longer. I was in middle school and these group of girls convinced me to ask out a guy the first like because they said he liked me back. They helped me get all dressed up and look nice. Then at lunchtime, they brought me to him and as they stood around and watched me, before I could even say anything the guy completely rejected me in front of everyone. And everyone started laughing at me. One of the girls said out loud, "Ew, why would he ever like you? No one does." Middle school was not a pleasant time for me. A friend of mine was served separation papers through text. They've been married for 6 years. True story. Last year I liked a girl. I told her. She didn't say much after until one night. I was looking at TikTok and there was a TikTok of her rejecting me to the public. Her saying ew, and how I was quite ugly. Deleted TikTok since then. Their partner tells you. I was 12. All my classmates pushed me to confess to my crush, who was standing on the stairs. Everyone was staring at me as I, in my prepubescent anxiety, man ahead to blurt out, "I love you," while holding my arms up. She put on the deepest expression of disgust I've ever seen, and I run away. Fun times. I asked this girl out. She started to cry and told me I looked just like her brother that had died in Iraq, and then she showed me a photo of him. When the person acts like she just saw something disgusting. Come on. First you just say, no, if they insist. Then you can do whatever you want. But let us have the chance to walk away with just a no. My first boyfriend in high school told me I wasn't religious enough to date him and broke up with me. He did this after church before we left the building. Pulled me aside in a conference room like we were having an evaluation meeting. A few months later, he was sent home from a school trip for having sex in the bathroom. My first thought, I guess she was religious enough for him. Preemptive rejection. I've had it happen a couple times. Both times were with women, girls who were part of a circle of friends. I never showed any interest in either, but, somehow, they both felt the need to say, out of the blue, "I'll never sleep with you, it's all good things evened out." Asked a girl for her phone number one night at the bar. She smiled and happily gave it to me. Waited a few days and called it. Turns out it was for a funeral home. I died a little inside that day. To admit to liking a girl, she says she likes you back, and the next day she moves across the country. True story. When my college roommate screwed up his courage to ask a girl out, she told him, "If you and I were the last people on earth, my answer would still be no." Getting stood up. Sitting at a bar alone, all dressed up, waiting for him to arrive. He never showed. Maybe he saw me and was disappointed and left? Maybe he just ghosted for no reason? Who knows, but it was humiliating. Stringing you along so you upend your life, move across country, buy and start renovating a house, and only then learn that she wasn't really serious. I was outright ignored. Just not a single thing said. So I awkwardly never talked to them again because they didn't seem to want to talk to me. In middle school my friend wrote a letter to his crush asking her to a dance. Dropped it on her desk and then left because he was nervous. As we walked outside we watched her through the window reading it, laughing, and then getting a bunch of her friends to come over and they read it together laughing their asses off. The worst she can say is no. When your family kicks you out of the house. Ghosting. Reject me outright, don't leave me in suspense. What is the horniest thing you have ever done? Fell in love with a girl. Girl has to move back home to Costa Rica after 3 days of knowing her. Reasonable person. Oh well, that's too bad, I liked her. Me. Guess I'm going to Costa Rica. In WWE No Mercy create a wrestler mode. You could create a hot female wrestler and then have her wear an open jacket with nothing underneath. You couldn't see nipple, couldn't remove the jacket, N64 graphics, but still it was sexy. Looked up porn on a 3DS when I was 11. I was in a Vegas hotel room, pretty drunk and about to go to sleep, then I heard some high-pitched moaning from another room. Sweet. Started jerking. A few minutes later I realized it was not a girl moaning. It was a dog whining. FML. No, I didn't finish, I was traumatized. Fucked the couch to the sex scene in 300. I'm not proud of myself and I am pretty ashamed. Jacked off to a booby lighter at my grandma's house when I was 12, she still has it. It was one that lights up when you open the cap. If I can find a picture I will post it. And #X200B. Edit. Found it. Before my high school girlfriend and I started having sex, she would let me sniff her pussy through her panties. I would then go home and jerk off. I still jerk off to that memory. Drove 165 miles, one way, for a one-nighter. I couldn't get this porn video out of my head all day that I had been using a lot. Was at the gym that evening and couldn't stop thinking of said video. Went to the gym back room and jerked one out in like 50 seconds. Let's see, I watched porn once and kissed the screen, that was pretty gross. In college I made myself a fleshlight out of a rolled-up towel, a rubber band, a latex glove, and some vegetable oil. Worked pretty well. Thinking myself a genius, I told my buddies so they could frugally fornicate with themselves as well. Bad idea. Caught a lot of shit for a long time after that. Wank, to completion, 12 times in one day. I was like 15 I think. I was maybe 18 or 19 in college and I got an offer from some guy the first barely knew. The offer was to bang his girlfriend because he had a cuck fetish or something. My horny ass actually agreed to it and I fucked his girlfriend in front of him. He watched from the corner beating his meat. It was the most awkward experience I've ever had and the post-nut clarity was terrible. Once, when I was 15, I had an oversized bomber jacket. I had recently lost my virginity so my hormones were all out of whack at this point and in the middle of winter while walking down the street I had a brilliant idea. I pulled my arms into the jacket, tucked the sleeves into my pockets and as I was walking I decided to fap as I traveled home. The cleanup was not the best and the shame was immense. Edit. Holy shit, I did not expect this to blow up. Thank you everyone. Longtime lurker with more embarrassing stories lol maybe I'll be featured on one of those Reddit YouTube videos. Thanks again guys folded hands. Made this account. GTA Strip Club. I was 15. I had to pick up trash around the bleachers the morning after a high school football game as a form of detention. I'm at the top of the bleachers. About 2 rows down from me is a hot Hispanic girl. She bends over to pick up trash and boom. No bra, loose-fitting shirt. I can see everything. I had never had a girlfriend and had never seen breasts IRL. It made me so horny that I couldn't think straight. About 5 minutes later we finished up and were released. Instead of going home, I head to the school gym. It was empty and dark. Ended up rubbing one out under the bleachers. I straight nutted on the bare floor under the bleachers. I pretended a plum was a pussy and proceeded to eat it out. Convinced my mom to hide a Hustler magazine inside a box of Apple Jacks and mail it to me because we weren't allowed to have phones, internet in drug rehab. They found it right away. Box was way too heavy for cereal. When I was around 12-13 I tried to create a fleshlight using an empty shampoo bottle, saran wrap, paper towels, and microwaved ramen noodles. Don't ask me how I thought it would work. Edit. Wow. My first gold is due to my failure to create a pocket puss out of ramen. At least that experience was good for something. Not sure what to say, so I'll say thanks. You're weird Reddit, but in a good way.